bracing for a potentially frosty relationship. Just days before taking office, Donald Trump issued a warning to Denmark. Either the EU member state gives up the mineral resource-rich autonomous territory of Greenland or faces tariffs. The president-elect says it's a matter of national security, citing the influence of Russia and China in the region. The European Commission has poured cold water on Trump's threats, calling them hypothetical. Whether a direct threat or a shot across the bows, it's a sign the transatlantic relationship could be heading for stormy waters. One clear point of contention is defence.
It's, if I can say, pretty wild stuff to be talking about him in this way in the run-up to his taking office. I'm not sure what one makes of that exactly. I think it's slightly unfortunate in the context of what is a more legitimate request on the part of Washington to see Europe pay more and do more in defense.
Donald Trump wants NATO allies in Europe to pay 5% on defence, up from the current target of 2% of GDP. But many cash-strapped European governments are likely to struggle to get close to that target.
A huge question here in Brussels is what a change in administration in Washington will mean for Ukraine. Trump has called for a quick resolution to the war, and the EU's top diplomat Kaja Kallas says that Europe is willing to take over leadership on the matter if the US is no longer willing to do so.
Long before November's US election, the EU had been prepping for the possibility of a Trump win. Caught off guard by tariffs on European steel and aluminium during his first term in office, the bloc is now steeling itself for a more protectionist US administration and the prospect of wide-reaching duties from its leading trade partner. The EU has already floated the idea of importing more liquefied natural gas from the US to appease Washington.
If the US is the EU's biggest trade counterparty, maybe they need to dilute that a bit, because if globalization is coming to a point where it's not quite what we've seen over the last couple of decades, people need to shift their focus and try and find new markets.
While Brussels seeks to show a united front, the 27-member bloc has grown increasingly divided, with right-wing populism on the rise. For some EU leaders, Trump's presidency is a chance to bolster influence, both domestically and on the European stage. Italy's Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni visited the president-elect at his Florida home earlier this month.
My thinking is that Meloni might actually try to play up the US against Brussels in the near future, and the Trump camp might expect that in exchange for concessions towards Meloni.
EU leaders say they're committed to strengthening the transatlantic bond. They say Europe and the US are stronger together. Soon they'll know how that aligns with Donald Trump's philosophy of America First. William Denselow, CNA, Brussels.